There we go. We can see it now. Can you hear us? You're on mute.
There you go. You can see me, you can hear me, you can see my
Yes.
screen.
Yep. Yep.
Yes, thank you. So I always want to check things before, but I also didn't want to disturb Mark's playlist earlier. But thank you so much, Mark. Thank you so much to your whole team for extending an invite for me to join you today. I'm really, really excited to have this conversation with you, just to inspire you. So the team reached out to me to talk on how we can accelerate our careers in tech. As already introduced, I'm Thembile Ndlovu. I'm the AWS Community Manager for Africa and Middle East, and that is part of our developer relations team within AWS. And just some background on my history. I've had the honor and privilege to work in the tech space for 8 to 9 years now. And I've worked with a diverse group of audience. So I've worked with students in universities. I've worked with graduates, leading internship programs, did a bit in recruitment, worked with SMMEs as a partner development manager, worked with our enterprise customers for skilling enablement. And now I get to work with our community. And in the time that I've worked, and even now, we're constantly seeing how the tech industry is changing at a very rapid pace with a high demand of professionals that have skills. And on the other side, we're also constantly hearing about how there's a skills gap. And we know because in some instances, we may have been victims of the growing unemployment that we're facing in our various countries, but also in our continent. So the question then lies is, how do you get in? But once you're in, how do you continue to grow in this industry that's also growing at such a fast pace? So I want us to have a conversation around some of the elements that will support us to stand out, because that's the most important thing, that everyone now is establishing and developing a career in tech, but how do you differentiate yourself from your peers? And one of those ways is obviously to continue to ensure that you're developing your technical skills. The technical skills are those practical skills that you have. So learning by doing. So yes, it's great that you have a certification. It is great. But I also want to know that you can do what you say you can do. And it's also important that you are being the best in your space. We have a saying that we use a lot, which is excellence or nothing. You need to be the most excellent engineer or architect or scientist or analyst, whatever role you are in, you need to be the best in that role. And that sometimes means that you need to take on certain projects that might be outside of your job role to gain specific skills. There are some instances where you need to take on projects where they might even be pro bono, where you're not getting paid for them. Now, I'm not saying do this forever. This is a temporary engagement that you do to be able to gain the relevant skills. That also ensures that you are staying ahead of the curve, that you are watching what are the trends in the space so that you know what additional skills you need to be developing. So right now, IoT, Internet of Things, AI and ML, these are the trends that are coming up. So as a developer, you want to be able to say that I might be an engineer, but I also want to ensure that I'm growing and getting more acquainted with what's happening in the trends so that you are also able to not only secure a job now, but also secure a job in the future. And the future we're seeing is becoming nearer and nearer. It's now in the near future. In addition to those hard skills or those technical skills that you need to develop is soft skills. And I think these are often taken for granted or overlooked. And I love the iceberg model, because the iceberg model shows you that when you engage with someone, you're engaging with them as an engineer, and they're coming in with those skills and those technical hard skills that they have. But there's a lot more underneath that we don't see. And those are the soft skills. And those are the skills that you transfer from one role to another. Those are the skills that when you go to an interview, they're actually looking out for. Those are the skills that help you to engage in a team effectively, but also have a harmonious engagement and relationship with your co-workers as well. So it's the ability to be able to listen, to communicate well, to really critically think as you problem solve as a team of engineers. It also tests your work ethic. Like, it's great to work with a developer that's the best in their game. But if they don't have the best work ethic that will help us to finish, to start, to continue, and to finish the project, I'd rather not work with them. I would rather work with someone that doesn't have the best hard skills, but can be trained in those hard skills, but has the best work ethic, because I know that they're going to be willing to develop those work ethics rather. With that, it's also building your brand. And sometimes we don't think about what do certain roles, what do certain companies that we affiliate ourselves, but what do certain characteristics also say about our brand and posts? When we post and engage on our various platforms, how does that contribute, add to your brand, but also take away from your brand as well? So that looks at developing yourself. So are you upskilling? Are you studying and learning? And this talks about how do you continuously develop a culture of long-term learning, where you're constantly learning, never saying I've arrived, but constantly putting yourself up to continue to grow from a skill sets perspective. That includes certification, but I want to say that it's not limited to certification, because certification is great. It really is important to know that you have that certificate that tells me as a recruiter or as an employer that you have gone through gaining the knowledge of what you say you can do. But it's not limited to the certificate, because there are learning resources that individuals can consume that will equip them with the skill sets that they need, but not necessarily have the certificate. That also talks to how are you building your portfolio? So when you're building a portfolio, this is what people will see. This is how you'll be able to demonstrate your skill sets. So that portfolio could be LinkedIn, but it's not limited to. It could be a GitHub repository. You decide what that portfolio is, but it's really where you are putting your best foot forward. It's your elevator pitch. If I want to know about the work and the projects that you've been doing, I'll ask for your portfolio, and it should have the best work that you are doing. And I should be able to get a view of what skill sets you have, who you've been engaged with, and then be able to decide if I would like to have a further conversation with you. What is also important is that wherever you decide to have that repository or that portfolio, I should be able to contact you. I cannot count how many times I've seen a good portfolio, but they have forgotten to add their contact details, which is really a shame, because now I can't contact you. And that your details are updated. There's nothing as worse as having an email bounce back because it never exists. It doesn't exist anymore. So that is so important, that wherever you're putting your portfolio, that whoever could get in touch with it, you are updating those records so that they can then be able to contact you. With that said, if LinkedIn is your portfolio or your platform, make sure that you're engaging on a regular basis. Engage in conversations and discussions in various forums as well, because that helps to catch the eyes of the recruiters. You're posting on a regular basis, you're engaging in conversations on the platform. I want to know more about the opinions that you have when you comment as well. And then lastly, taking the risks and being open to new opportunities. Taking risks means you're challenging yourself, not settling in a comfort zone in a current role that you are in, but also continuing to say, if an opportunity presents itself, I will take it. And that also includes speaking opportunities. There are so many community members that have great knowledge that they can share and impart to others, but aren't taking up the speaking opportunities to do so. So I'm saying this as a community manager to also challenge you, because it's so important that you are sharing the knowledge that you have, taking up speaking opportunities to share with others. Very, very important is also to find a mentor. Find a mentor. Like, you can go through your career by yourself, but it's always good if there is someone that can also usher you. And before you find a mentor and approach someone, it's important that you understand for yourself what success looks like and what your goal is, what timeframes. So if you're saying in the next 3 years, I want to have this certification and I want to land this role, your mentor is able to then give you the guidance and coaching, working backwards of how you can then attain that. This is someone that you should be able to take feedback from, because they're going to critically, they'll give constructive criticism to you, give you feedback on you are lagging, you are not going to attain it if you continue this way in your role, in your goal. They will challenge you. They will be your ally. They will expand the network that you have, and they will be able to also hold you accountable. And it's very important that as we grow, especially the higher you get in roles, that you are able to stay and have a mentor. Sometimes we say that when you start, it's important to have a mentor, but it's as critical as you grow, so that you are being intentional in the roles that you are taking to advance your career and how they fit in to your bigger plan and what your success looks like. And then lastly, I wouldn't be a community manager if I don't talk about the importance of joining a community. You need to be able to be part of a community, because this is a space and this is an audience that will help you to advance. And I know that here I might be preaching to the converted, because you might already be in a community. But for the benefit of those that might not be in a community, I always say that if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. And that is the essence of what communities bring. Communities, whether they are online or in person, create a safe environment that is inclusive for you to be able to really share your challenges, share your successes, but be able to talk about the technologies, the new releases, the challenges that you're having as you continue to grow in your tech journey. These communities might be hosting regular events, they might not, but they also running workshops, hackathons, whatever the case might be. They might also be exposing you to those hard skills that we spoke about earlier, giving you an opportunity to be a part of projects that you might not be having in your role, but being exposed to via the community. I recently spoke to a community manager, a community member, who was saying that the reason why they're in a community is because their current role doesn't enable them to deal with AWS at an in-depth level. And therefore, the community is the only space where they get to engage with AWS, engage with projects. And this is why it's so important, because it helps you to extend beyond what your role, 9 to 5, or your business as an entrepreneur might allow you to be able to do. It also gives you an ability to connect with other individuals, network with other individuals. So expanding your expertise, but also increasing your visibility. You might have a smaller network of people that you might engage for jobs or for opportunities, but through the community, it's even a wider pool that you engage that can help you to collaborate, but also innovate as well. It helps you to also expand your skills. And as we said, staying ahead of the curve as well. And I think the lovely thing about community is that it's not only the technical conversations that can be had, but also the conversations like today that we're having that can help you to grow. So for the benefits of anyone that might be on the call who doesn't know the community programs that are available within AWS, is we have our AWS Heroes program, our AWS Community Builders, our user group, and our cloud clubs. Those are part of our AWS community programs. And I'll ask Mark to also share the link with everyone. I do want to also talk about the Restart program and the training and certification program. These aren't part of the community programs, but they are programs that run really great communities that are beneficial. So for example, the Restart program looks at individuals that are unemployed or underemployed, but are looking to start and relaunch their career. These individuals do not necessarily have to have a tech background. So you could join the Restart program coming from a different background and be able to start and launch your career fresh with AWS. In addition to that is the training and certification. So there are boot camps and certification challenges and webinars that are run on a weekly basis where one can be able to participate for free and engage with the tutors or the facilitators on the content and then be able to certify. And I'm raising this because they are programs that really enhance the experience for individuals that are trying to start or individuals that are trying to rebrand and launch a new career as well. So the Heroes program, if there is anyone that wants to learn more about that, is select for individuals that are driving impact within their local communities. I spoke about those repositories. So we would obviously see the work that they're doing. They are nominated into the program versus an application program. The community builders are individuals that would then apply to the program, and they are creating technical content, blogs as individuals. The user groups, we are part of a user group meetup today, so they meet up on a regular basis and really create an environment and a platform to engage with AWS topics and experts. And then the cloud clubs are also very similar to the user groups, but specific to our university students, giving them an opportunity to also start their AWS cloud journey a lot sooner. And I believe, I can't see the chat, but I believe that Mark has shared on that as well. And why, what does it take and why is it so important? I mean, you might be sitting there and saying, I am part of a community, or I'm not part of a community, and I don't know if I fit in which community. I always say, if you're enthusiastic about technology, you're the right person. You can engage in a community that fits you. If you are looking to train or upskill or get certified, you are the right person to join a community. If you're already building on AWS platforms, you are also the individual creating content, running workshops, whatever the case might be. And I also say that you might not know anything about tech. And you're like, am I the right? Should I join a community? If you just have the urge or the curiosity to learn, you are also the right person to be a part of these communities and take part. So with that, there are always tips there are community members that stand out from others. And those that stand out are those that are active, participating in those discussions and really showcasing projects. And I think it's so important that you can be part of a community, but there's a difference if you are an active community member, because that's how you gain visibility. That's how you're able to network. People know your skill set so they can reach out to you. So yes, be a part of a community, but also really interact with your community so that others can call on you for help. But you can also help those that are coming behind you. Someone might say, I just got my foundational certificate, I'm just learning, but there is someone else that hasn't even started that journey and is looking for skills on how to do so. All right. So with that, I do hope that I've been able to inspire you on your journey. I am open for questions, and Mark will help me with that too. I can't see the chat, so Mark, you'll be able to advise on that. But I do hope that this has been able to inspire you and just spark some thoughts around your own journey or around your own brand, and how you better position yourself for your next role.
Great, awesome. Thank you very much. This has been really insightful for me, and I think for even the new people who are in today. It's been really cool. So if you have any questions, you can unmute and ask the question, or you can ask in the chat. if you have any questions on that. Maybe as we do that, Thembile, you can kind of expound more on the cloud clubs. I think that's the new kind of program. So you can kind of explain on that, because I think we have a few university students who would definitely love to be part of it.
Yes, definitely. And I think it's that good question, because there are a few cloud clubs that have just come out of Kenya, which is really, really amazing. So currently, Kenya and Nigeria are the only regions in Africa that have cloud clubs. And as I mentioned, these are programs that are specific to university students. So they will be running meetups within their institutions where they are going to be able to expose other students to AWS. So they will have conversations around introduction to cloud. They'll have conversations around what's the right role to take. I mean, as they are studying information technology or starting their journey, they're still trying to figure out, what does this lead to? What does this translate to? So as they're starting and studying the Cloud Club and having AWS presence in their institution will be able to really guide them to kick off their journey and accelerate their start to their career in tech. So as I said, it's exciting that we have these cloud clubs, and as user groups, there's an opportunity for you to also start bringing them into the conversations as well. I mean, I can only imagine having a big community on students, but also focuses on individuals that are now in the workforce already and looking to advance.
Great. I see here, it's not really a question, but I think an express of gratitude on the same. Also, as we wait for more questions, okay. Someone here, Innocent, has said he's a student from Technical University of Kenya in Nairobi, and I think he'd definitely want to have one in University of Kenya, Technical University of Kenya. Innocent, if you don't mind, you can side chat me. I'd be able to kind of guide you through the process. Would definitely love to have more cloud clubs in Kenya, and that's kind of one of our aims currently. So Innocent, definitely side chat me, and also find me on LinkedIn and also on Twitter. We can be able to discuss more and see how we can be able to do it. Also, one of the other questions that a lot of people are asking, what are the benefits beyond that? What kind of, maybe is there swag, and also any cool conferences developers can go for, or community builders? How does that look?
So yes, there is. But I always say that before we get to that, the swag, the benefit is the pool of individuals that you will be engaging with when you are in a community. The amount of knowledge and expertise that exists in such a group is phenomenal. And I don't want us to put that as a last benefit, because that is by far the first benefit, that you have an opportunity to engage with individuals that come from various different backgrounds, that have gotten into tech in various different ways as well, and that can share that knowledge and their expertise that they have. So for me, that's the number one benefit of being in a community, regardless of the community. The other is that you do have opportunities to speak at certain events when you're at those communities, and be in conversations with CEOs and directors of various different tech companies that you can then start networking as well. So not only do you have a network of expertise within your community, but because you're a part of a community, you get exposed to speaking engagements. And I'm encouraging the speaking engagements because that's how you're able to grow in your career as well. So that's another thing. Yes, you will get vouchers and credits for you to be able to obviously continue to develop and build on AWS platforms, but also for you to continue to get certified. And we know the price of these on the market if you're going by yourself to get them. So when you are part of programs, it's nice to get those discounts on credit vouchers, but also sometimes getting those vouchers and credit as well, because you are part of a community and contributing actively in that community. So that's one. And then there's also the swag, which is cool. It's nice. Like, I'm actually wearing one of the community badges as well. So it's nice to get some swag, because you can actually wear that and share it, and it always catches eyes of other individuals that might be saying, that's cool. Where is that from? And then you're able to share more about how you contribute to their community. But that is almost like a thank you. The swag is like, thank you for being part of a community. Thank you for being such an active member in your community, more than it is like an incentive.
Yep, great. Thank you for touching on that. I see there's a question here also.
Yes.
So Charity Ngari, hi Charity.
Charity.
She's transitioning into was that Charity speaking? I don't know. I don't know, Charity, do you wanna unmute and maybe ask your question, or should I ask it for you?
Hi, I can ask the question. Thank you so much, Mark. And thank you so much, Ndlovu, for taking the time to talk to us. So my question is, I was in finance and I'm transitioning into tech, into data science. So for example, the cloud clubs, I'm seeing they are mostly for people in university, 28 years and below. So for someone like me, what will be your advice on the opportunities for me in AWS cloud? Because I'm trying to learn about that. Yeah, what would you say?
So thank you for your question, Charity. I think I'll definitely say the best place would be the user group program, because you would have individuals that are already data sciences. They're not in university, some might be, but they currently already in the workforce. So that would definitely be the first point. And you are already in a meetup, so do be sure to follow their meetup page so you can continue to engage with them. Another one, I would say, try the Restart program. Obviously, you will see if you meet the requirements or not. You might be already far because you may have already been in your finance background for a while, but check out the Restart program and see, because that is for individuals that are wanting to switch careers. As I said, that it is looking for individuals that are unemployed or underemployed, but you would be able to be the best one knowing your context to see if you meet that criteria. But the user group program is definitely a first point of entry, because you'll be able to engage with other individuals. They will share some certification parts that you can also take as a data scientist. And I think you would be able to find those on the AWS website as well. If you connect, I can also share that with you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, and all the best with your transition.
Yeah,
thank
awesome.
you.
Yeah, Charity, definitely, I've just sent our link to the meetup and also AWS user group. We definitely love to have you part of the user group, and also we are diversifying our topics to more topics beyond cloud, so that you can also be part of that. Great. There's also another question here. Okay, sorry, I just missed it here. So do you have any programs for people who are done with the university studies? I think we've mentioned that. Mariam, definitely join the AWS user group. That's one of the programs that is there. And also there's a community builder program. I'll reshare it again on the chat. Then we can go to the next question. So I'll share the community builders and also the user group, so that you can also see what that looks like. There we go. So,
and while you're sharing that, Mark, Miriam, the community builders program. So if you are creating technical content, and I think it's so important that you are clear on this. So if you're applying to the community builders program, you need to be someone that is writing blogs, creating videos on technical content around AWS. So you might be saying, writing a blog about how you were using AWS Lambda and how you then integrated it with the project that you were working on. It is important that you are someone that's already creating content versus aspiring to create content. The reason why I'm emphasizing this is because if you're still aspiring, there isn't data or repository for us to go through and confirm, and therefore you would be rejected. And I don't want you to be demotivated. So I'm telling you upfront that create the content, and then when you believe that you've gotten the right content, you can then apply to the program, because that way you increase your chances of being successful in that application.
okay, so there are a lot of questions actually.
Okay.
So one is by, just again, I've lost it. So many questions coming in. So by Amir. So Amir is asking, am I required to be a developer to kickstart my AWS journey? I have just started my computer science classes at university. Is that a question?
No, you're not. So the nice thing within AWS is that we refer to our community as builders, because that includes everyone. You are an analyst. I don't know if there's someone who's talking. Okay.
Let me find, I'll mute them. Hi, hello. If you're unmuted, please mute. So that, okay, thank you. Great.
Thank you. So you might be a data analyst, you might be a scientist, an engineer. So as you are starting, it might be too soon for you to identify.
Right, let me find. Collins.
Really strong position with a good wits in from
Sorry, I've muted him.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to make sure that they could hear clearly. So you might still be starting and you are still trying to identify which role you want to go into specifically. So you don't need to, as you are starting, and I was saying that we refer to everyone that falls within this space as a builder. You might even be in a support role. So whatever you are currently studying towards, you will start unpacking as you go through your studies, and you identify which areas are better or best, or you feel are more the role that you want to take in. And you would then be able to be part of the community programs, regardless of which role you hold. So you don't necessarily need to be a developer.
Great. There's also another question. If you've asked a question in chat, please bear with me. I'll find them and make sure I answer them. So George is asking, which tech skill is in demand this year? That's his question.
Oh, that is a tricky one, George. I think, as I was talking about the trends earlier, that AI and ML are really big spaces that are in demand now. And being able to be in that space, I think, is one that I would say. So if you are, so by AI and ML, I'm talking about machine learning. If you are in that space right now, there's a lot of conversation that's happening. So Gen AI, I would say that will help you now and in the next coming years, because that's the trend, and it's going to be a trend for a couple of years to come. But with that said, the reason why I'm saying it's so difficult to say which exact role right now, because they are constantly evolving and they are constantly changing. So it's so important that, yes, you are a developer, because we're always looking for developers to develop. But at the same time, things are changing. Engineers also big right now. So it's very difficult. Just stay ahead of the curve, but also ensure that you're watching what conversations and trends and topics are big, so that you can align to those respective of the role.
Great. Thank you. There's another question here by Russian. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but what are the job opportunities with AWS in Kenya?
So we don't have physical presence in Kenya with AWS, and the presence is via our partners. So I will share a link with you, Mark, so that you can share it with everyone, which helps you to find who are the AWS partners that exist in each country, so that you would then be able to find what opportunities they have. So as I said, we don't have physical presence within Kenya at the moment, but our presence is within our partners. And I always say that it's also important not to think of landing a role with AWS, but there are many partners that are looking for AWS cloud engineers, for example. So you might be with any company, but under an AWS role, and you would then be the presence in that company of AWS because you are focusing and specializing on AWS solutions. So you might say, oh, if there is an AWS, it means then what? No, there are companies that are looking for specialists in AWS that they can then take in for specific roles as well. So I'll share that partner finder link so that you can share it with the community.
Great. So there's just another question here by Miriam, or Mariam, sorry. Mariam, do you mind unmuting and asking your question? I think this is your second question. I wouldn't mind if you unmute and ask your question. Mariam? Okay. Maybe she's not ready for it, but one of the questions she asked is, are there any free AWS scholarships, like free exam vouchers, or rather, where can I access such?
Join your local meetup group. So I'd say the best place to get free vouchers and credits is through the meetup. And in addition to that, there are a lot of opportunities that you might find out from the meetup community as well. So if there are sponsorships or bursaries that open up, or internship programs that open up, or recruitment, you would then know, because those would be shared to the meetup community and they can then extend it to their wider audience. So by joining your local user group, you'll have visibility of those, but also following some of our websites as well for such information.
Yeah, great. Let's see. Also, they mentioned there is also the Restart program, which is in Kenya, it's called the Algeria program. They do have scholarships for the cloud practitioner level. And actually, there was a question on that. I just remembered. Someone asked, which is the first AWS certification one should start with?
You've just answered that question. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So that would be the cloud practitioner, yes, certificate.
Yes. Awesome.
And in addition to that, the training and certification team usually run weekly webinars, and those are specific to the cloud practitioner certificate. There will also be a certification challenge for that certificate. So that will be shared with the user group community. It should be in September, where there'll be a challenge, and you can then go through the training and then get a voucher to write that certificate. And in the next 3 months, there'll be a similar challenge for the associate level. So look out for those challenges that come up, because you are able to then get discounted vouchers to write their exams, and in some instances get full vouchers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just to chime in on that, our lead organizer, Adeline, is part of the Restart program. She went through it. She became an AWS community builder and a user group lead actually in Kenya. So it's actually really possible to be able to climb up the ladder and also be able to upskill yourself. I wish Adeline was here, but she's also one of our, let me say, proverbial stars in terms of this. If there are no more questions, let me see. All right, I think we finished all the questions. Forgive me if I've not seen yours. So as we end today, a few housekeeping things before we go. So normally we have our user group meetings every month on Saturdays from 4 to 5 p.m. Please join on meetups and also on Twitter and LinkedIn. I will share that again. And also I've shared our WhatsApp group where we meet for more updates and more opportunities on the same. Really thankful for you guys coming in. Also, before we end, if you don't mind, you can switch on your videos. We'll take one, what we call a virtual selfie. As we finish off, then we'll give a vote of thanks to Thembile as we finish off. So if you don't mind, you can switch on your videos. That would be dope. Great. Love. Okay. All right. Okay. I can see a few people on my end. Okay. I give it 1 more minute then, not to throw anyone off. Hi, Catherine. Hi, Felix. Stephen. Okay. No one to be left out. Everyone is cool. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you guys for coming through. I've taken a few screenshots on my end. Any last words, Thembile, before we kind of close out?
Yes. Thank you once again for the opportunity. I did have a feedback survey. So if you could scan that, share your feedback, be honest. We really, really appreciate feedback. It helps us to grow. It helps us to improve. But also just, it's really been an honor spending the Saturday afternoon, evening, depending where you are, with you. So thank you for this opportunity.
Great. Do you mind if I share my screen? Then I think we can.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So thank you very much, Thembile. This has been really awesome. I don't know, like words cannot maybe put into words you coming in today. So before we end, would like also to maybe teach you a word or two in Kiswahili. So Kiswahili is our national language. Sorry.
Asante sana. Is that
Ah.
what you see? Teaching?
Yes. So you actually know it, actually.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
so thank you very much for coming through. I think I kind of put it a bit off, but asante sana for coming and gracing us today. Maybe I'm curious, how did you know Kiswahili?